Hi, welcome back to my channel. I'm Vicky and today you're joining me to make what possibly could be one of my favourite pieces that I may have ever made, because I am absolutely in love with it. And this is the piece. It reminds me very much of like a stained glass window, and I love the fact that it's quite domed on the inside, so all of this section here kind of sits a bit higher, and that's why I think it makes it look like a little stained glass window. It's just so pretty and I am totally in love. Sometimes as a designer you kind of have them moments where pieces just come together so easily and so well, and it's kind of like a little miracle, because most of the time I fight with a lot of my pieces to get them to work. So this coming together the way it did so quickly and so easy was just a dream, and I absolutely love it. And one thing I love about it the most is the colours. So these aren't colours I'd ever really choose. They're not a go-to for me at all. I would never probably use the white Delica that often, unless I was doing something like flowers or whatnot, which I don't actually do that many of either. So putting the white with the Jet AB kind of colour beads here, and then the gold of the aurum and the champagne seed, it's just not colours I put together. So I have beading school to thank for this, because all these colours and all them beads are in the current Beading School Academy box, which is the Fly Me to the Moon box. And I have to say, this is the box that keeps on giving. It really is. I've had it about a week and a half now, and I've already made 3 pieces. So this is the first one we're going to bead together, but it's half empty now because I've used it to make 3 pieces, but I just know that there's like so much more in there that I can do with it. I'm very excited, and over the next couple of months you may see a couple more pieces from me. But if this is not something that you're ready to jump into yet, you can get all the materials separate on Beading School's website. I'll do a load of links for each material separate, so you can have a little look at that. But if you've been on the fence a while for the Beading School Academy box, I'd say this is the one to jump in with, because it is absolutely stunning. So I'll put that to one side, and we can now take a look at the materials. So I'm not using because I've already used pretty much the Nettes and the rose chatons, the flat backs in this piece that came in the box. I'm going to use a different colourway today. So I have a size 15 seed bead, a size 11 Delica bead, a 3mm fire polished, a 4mm pearl, a Vexolo bead, a 4x15 Nette stone in settings, and I've got the rose chaton, 7mm one. But I'll put all because I'm sure that's not the full name of that, so I'll link all the proper names and the sizes and all the materials in the drop down box below with the links to each one. I'm using a size 12 needle, and I have £6 fire line. You'll see that I've put my piece on like a choker, which I thought it would actually look really lovely on a choker. I just think it goes so nice with the black. But if you want to make your own choker, Beading School also have some really nice 6mm velvet ribbon on their website, so I'll link that as well, so you can have a look, and some ribbon ends, so you can kind of have a look at that and see if you fancy adding it to a choker or making your own choker going forward. Mine I've just picked up somewhere along the lines, and I'm not actually sure where now, probably, I don't know, eBay, Amazon, who knows. But yeah, so I'll link the ribbon from Beading School too. But yes, so that's everything we need. Should we get started? Okay, so the amount of thread that we're going to use for this piece, it's just going to vary a little bit to start with, because we start by bezeling the tiny 4mm pearls in these little peyote bezels. So I've already bezeled 3 because you need 4. And I've bezeled 3 and I've taken the threads off them, because I just want to be working with one big length of thread when it comes to making the rest of the piece up. So I used minimum threads for these. I think I started with quite a half a arm span, and just kind of like made one, took the thread off, made another one, took the thread off, so I didn't have to keep rethreading my needle. So you can do that, or you can put longer threads on them and you can work them all in later. That's completely up to you. But on my fourth one that we're going to make together, I've used a wingspan of thread to start with, because it's quite an in-depth piece and it does use a lot of thread. So I've started now with a wingspan to make my fourth bezeled pearl. So let's do that now. So to start, we're going to pick up 1 4mm pearl and 5 size 11 delicas, like so. I'm going to drop them all the way down to the other end of my thread, and I'm going to leave about a 10cm tail to weave in later. And I'm just going to take my needle back up the 4mm pearl, like so. And I'm going to pull that through. And then them 5 delicas, as you can see, are now sitting around my pearl on that side. I'm going to pick up 5 size 11 delicas, like so. And I'm just going to go back up my pearl again from the tail end. I'm actually using the tail to hold it firm. So pull that through. And then I'm going to push them to the other side. So now I have 2 sets of 5 delicas on either side of my pearl, like so. I'm now going to take my needle through one of the sets of 5 delicas. So I'll be coming out of a delica that is closest to the pearl hole. Just going to pull that through, pull that tight. So now you can see I'm coming out of that delica, and I'm going to pick up 1 size 11 delica, and I'm just going to go through the next 5 delicas on the other side of my pearl. So that delica we've just added pretty much covers the hole at the bottom of that pearl. And now I'm just going to pick up 1 size 11 delica, and I'm just going to go through the next 2 delicas like so. And I'm going to pull through. So now, pulling my tail thread, pulling my working thread, I now have a ring of delicas, of 12 delicas around my 4mm pearl. And I'm coming out of this delica here. I'm now going to pick up 1 delica, and I'm going to think of this as my base row, because we're now going to work in peyote. So I'm coming out of this one here, this delica. I'm going to miss that next one along and go through the one after. So coming out of this one, missing the one next to that one I'm coming out of, and going through the one after. And I'm going to pull that tight, and I'm just going to push it up so it sits next to my pearl. And as you can see, if I just turn this to the side, that new delica we've just added is now sat on top of the delica we missed. And I'm going to do that again, picking up 1 size 11 delica. I'm coming out of this one, I'm going to miss that next one along and go through the one after, like so. And again, that will sit on top of that delica that we missed. And then we're just going to continue that all the way around. So I'm just about to add in my last delica. So I'm coming out of this one, I'm missing the next one along, and I'll be going back into the very first delica that we started from. So when we added our first delica, that's the delica I'm going to go into. The very first one. And I'm going to push that up and pull tight. And now, as you can see, I have 6 delicas all sitting up next to the pearl now. So 6 new delicas we should have in place. And I'm going to step up into that first delica I added in that round and pull my needle through. Oh, I seem to have a little knot. Bear with me 1 second. Knot, there we go. Okay, I was getting a little tiny knot then, but it worked out okay. Okay, so I'm coming out of that new delica. I'm now going to pick up 1 size 15. Oh, 1 size 15. And I'm going to go straight into the next delica along from the previous round where we've just added them new delicas, the next new delica along, like so. And pull tight. So now that new 15 sits between the delicas we added in the previous round. I'm going to pick up 115, and again I'm just going to go into the next new delica along, like so. And I'm just going to continue that all the way around. I'm just adding in my last 15 now, and I'm going into the first delica we started from when we added our first 15, and I'm going to pull that tight. And now you should have 6 15s in place next to your pearl. So I'm now wanting to get to the other side, so I'm just going to turn to the side, and you can also see here now when we look at our delicas that we have 3 rows of peyote here in the delicas. So we've got that row, the first row, the second row and the third row, or the top, middle and bottom row, whichever way you wish to talk about it. So I'm coming out of this delica here. I'm just going to come down the side between these delicas here and just literally take my needle into the one behind the one we're coming out of, like so. And I'm just going to pull that through. So now I'm coming out of the other side. And I'm just going to repeat adding the 15s on this side. So just picking up one and going into the next delica along on this row. And you can see we still have the 6 delicas in place here from when we did our peyote rows. So just pulling through. There's my first seed in place, and you're just going to continue adding 15s all the way around. I'm just adding in my last 15 and going into the delica I started from, and pull through. And again, I have the 6 15s on this side, so now each side matches. We're going to turn our piece to the side, and I'm coming out of this delica here. And I'm going to take my needle straight into the next one along on that middle row of delicas. So just straight into the next one along that sits basically on the middle row or the second row. And pull your needle through. Pick up 3 15s. And coming out of that middle delica, we're just going to go straight into the next middle delica along. So coming out of here, and I want to go into this one, and you should have one either side of the one you're going to go into, like so that one there and that one, but you're going straight into that middle one there, and pull through. And that's going to give us a little picot, a little 315 picot on that middle row. And now I want to weave my way through my beads until I'm coming out of the delica, basically facing the one I'm coming out of, because I want to add that on the other side. So I'm going to go through, coming out of this one, 1 2 3 4 beads, but obviously you have to go up and down on the rows. So 1 2 3 4. Let me get a bit closer to the camera actually and show that again. That one, that one, that one and that one. So I will just take them through. There's the first 2, and then through the next 2. And then I'm going to pick up 3 15s, and I'm going to go into the next 11 delica along on that middle row, the same as we've done on this side. I'm going to do that again, like so, and pull through. So now I have these 2 sets of 15s, 2 sets of 3 15s on either side of my little bezel pearl. Now that essentially would be done if that was our first pearl bezel, but obviously you need 4 of them, and I have 3 here already made from earlier, so I'm going to be able to just carry on now, but you'll need to go and make another 3 bezel pearls for a total of 4. So if you guys want to do that right now, that'll be great. And I'm just going to weave off my tail thread. Okay, so once you've made your 4 little pearl bezels, you want to weave through your beads, so through your delicas, until you're coming out of this middle 15 here of this set of 3 15s. So just taking your needle through your delicas. And remember, you have to go up, down, up, down. You can't just go straight ahead, otherwise you'll just see thread. So don't do that. Just go up, down, and then through them two. And then so you're coming out of that middle 15 of that set of 3, the first set of 3 you would have added, like so. And now you're going to pick up one size 11 delica. I'm going to pop that down on my mat while I pick up my next bezel, my next pearl bezel, and I'm just going to go into a middle 15 of that set of 3 15s on the next pearl bezel and pull through, and that will join them two together now, like you can see. And then I'm just going to repeat that with the other 2 pearl bezels until I have a set of 4 delicas joining the 4 pearl bezels. I'm just adding in my last delica and going into that one we started from, that first pearl bezel we started from. I'm just taking my last delica into that one, and then I'm pulling tight, and that is the 4 pearl bezels joined together with these 4 delicas, and they're going into the middle 15s of these sets of 3, like so. And you can just go through them all again to reinforce that little loop, because we want them to sit nice and tight, nice and sturdy. Only go through them the once though, because we will have to use the 15s again, so you don't want to be making them too tight that you can't get through your 15s. Okay, so now I'm coming out of this middle 15 still. I'm going to go into the next 15 along, that third one there, pull through, and then I'm going to go into the delica that 15 is going into. So the delica, just the one, I was going through 2, that delica there that 15 is going into. So it will be, if you imagine you came out of this delica, added your 3 15s and then went into that delica to get your little peak out, it's that one that you should be going into now. Pull through. We're now going to pick up a Vexolo bead. So when you're picking up the Vexolo bead, you want to be picking up the thinner end, and you want the more pointed end to be on the top. So I'm going to go through my Vexolo bead like so. And as you can see, that's going to sit in between our pearl bezels. And I'm going to now come down this size 11 delica here on this next pearl bezel that my first 15 of this set of 3 is coming out of. So into that delica there. Let's get through it and I'll show you. Like so. So coming out of the delica on that side, on that pearl bezel, and going into the delica on the next pearl bezel. So the same delica that you're coming out of is the one you want to be going into. And pull through. And as you can see, that makes the Vexolo sit really cute in between them 2 15s. It sits nice and snug, or them 11s sits nice and snug. And now I'm going to go through these 3 15s and into the next delica that the 15 is going into on this side of this pearl bezel. So through them 3 15s, and this is what I meant about not going through the middle too many times, because you didn't want to get these so tight that you couldn't get through them at this point. Then into that 15, and then into that next delica there, like so, the one that the 15s are going into. And we're just going to add them Vexolo beads all the way around. I think I called them a Vexolo before. I want to call them that, but I'm pretty sure it's spelled Vexolo. So so yes, go into your pick. You're going to add your Vexolo beads for a total of 4 between your pearl bezels, exactly the same way we've just done that one. So I'm just adding in my last Vexolo bead. I'm coming out of the delica here on this pearl bezel. I'm going into the one facing it on the next pearl bezel, like so, and through my 15s. It's a little bit tighter to get through now. Through my 15s, make sure you don't get attached anywhere. There we go. And as you can see, these beads are now sitting really nice and snug between our pearl bezels, and even that's quite cute, isn't it? You could use that for something. If you tightened it up a little bit more, it could be just a little piece on its own. I love component jewelry that does that, when it just makes little pieces on its own. So now we're going to weave around our pearl bezel to come out of the middle 15 on the other side, on the set of 3, this middle 15 here. We're going to weave around to come out of that one. So just find your path. Okay, so I'm now coming out of this middle 15 of this set of 3 on the outside of my pearls. I'm now going to pick up 2 15s, one 3mm fire polished and one 15. So I'm picking up 4 beads altogether, 2 15s, one 3mm fire polished and one 15. Coming out of this middle 15 here of this set of 3, and I'm just going to go straight through the unused hole of the Vexolo bead, like so, and pull through. So now these beads should sit snugly to this side of the pearl here, and they're going through that bigger side of the Vexolo bead. I'm now going to pick up one 15, one 3mm fire polished and 2 15s. So I'm just doing what we've just done there in reverse. 1 15, one 3mm fire polished and 2 15s. And I'm going to go into the next middle 15 of the next set of 3 on the next pearl along and pull through. And that's how your work should look right now. And we're just going to repeat from here to here all the way around. So the 2 15s, the 3mm fire polished, the single 15 through the Vexolo, and then the single 15, the 3mm fire polished and the 2 15s, and go into the middle 15 of this set of 3 here. So repeat that all the way around. And I'm just adding in my last single 15, my 3mm fire polished and my 2 15s, and I'm going back into that first 15 of that first set of 3 that we started from, like so. And I'm just going to pull that tight. And that's how your piece should look now. I'm now going to weave through my beads to come out of this set of 2 15s here before the middle 15 that we went into on this side, on this next pearl along. So just weave through your 2 15s, your 3mm fire polished, your single 15, Vexolo, the single 15, the 3mm fire polished. Oh, it's getting a bit attached to something. And the 2 15s after the 3mm fire polished. I'm now going to pick up 1 15, and I'm going to go through the next 2 15s, fire polished, 15, Vexolo, 15, 2 fire polished and 2 15s. So adding in this single 15, go through all them next beads until you're coming out of this 2 15s after the fire polish, so we can do it again. So can I make it all the way through? Not quite, almost. So like that. And then that last one that I couldn't get through. And as you can see, now we have this little single 15 sitting between these 2 sets of 2 15s that are either side of on this side of the fire polished. We're just going to repeat adding that single 15 in on the other 3 corners. I'm just adding in about to add in my last 15, my last single 15 here between these two sets of two, like so, and that's how your piece should now look. And now I want to weave through to come out of the first fire polished here, this one. So just coming out of that first fire polished, like so. And I'm now going to pick up 115. I'm going to get one of my Nettes and go through. So if I hold it that way, I'm going through this right hand side hole, like so. And then I'm going to pick up two 15s, a 3mm fire polished and two 15s. Oh, there's a lot to show on this step, so bear with me. So you can see I've picked up 115, my Nette, and then I picked up two 15s, my 3mm fire polished and my two 15s, like so. I'm now going to come down this other hole of the Nette stone, so the left hand hole, if we're holding it this way. So down that hole there, pull through, make sure it's all nice and tight. I've missed the hole there. Be aware of that. You can sometimes just miss the holes of the Nette stones. So make sure that it's going through both holes of the Nette stone. It's sometimes good to make a little mistake, because then obviously it show how you don't want to do it, basically. So I'm now coming out of this Nette. I'm going to pick up 115 and I'm going to go into, if you think I started on this fire polished, I'm going to go into this next fire polished along, and then through the two 15s after and into that first single 15, like so. So I'm coming out of the Nette, I've picked up my 15, same as it is on the other side. I've gone through that fire polished and then through the next three 15s, the two after the fire polished and the single one we added in the previous round, and pull through. And your Nette now should sit on top of this Vexolo. It should be really like quite close up to it, and you've got these two 15s here, the two single 15s here and here, and then you've got the two 15s, the fire polished, and the two 15s on the top of this Nette stone. And you now should be coming out of this single 15 here, the one of the new ones that we added between the two sets of two. So what we're going to do now is, we're not going to repeat that. We're going to actually build the first bezel for our little rose chaton, or 7mm rose chaton. We're going to build this, and as you can see here, it starts with some fire polish and some seeds. It's quite easy to build, so don't worry. It doesn't, and it probably looks quite like daunting and harder than it actually is, so don't worry. So we're coming out of this size 15 here. We're now going to pick up one fire polished, 115, one fire polished, 115, fire polished, 15, and a fire polished. So you should have on your needle 4 fire polished and 3 15s. We already have this 15 in place, hence why I've not picked another one up, and we were coming out of it to start with. So I'm now going to take my needle through the 15 I'm coming out of to start with, from the opposite side, like so. Move out the way so we're getting caught around it. Okay, and I've pulled that through, and as you can see now, I've made a little ring of the fire polished and 15s, and I have 4 15s in place because we're using this one here as our 15 between these two. I'm going to go forward into my first 3mm fire polished, just got caught around a piece of thread. There's a lot to get caught on this piece, especially the Nette, so be very aware. Try not to get caught if you can help yourself, and if you do, I hope you notice before you go on too far. So keep having little checks here and there as you're going along. So I'm now coming out of this first fire polished after that 15. I'm going to pick up 3 15s, like so. I'm going to jump this 15 and go into the next fire polished along. Pull through, and that would cause these new 15s to sit over that single 15, like so. I'm going to pick up 3 15s again, and I'm going to jump the 15, the single 15, and go through the next fire polished, like so. And pull tight. And I'm just going to repeat that twice more over this single 15 and that single 15. So you should have a total of 4 sets of 3 15s. I've just added in my last set of 3 15s, which is sitting over that single 15 that's on our main part of the component. And I'm coming out of this fire polished, and I'm going to go forward through 2 of my new 15s of that first set of 3 that I added, like so. So you should have 4 sets of 3 over the single 15s. And I know that one doesn't look like it's sitting like the others are, because obviously that's attached to the 15 underneath. But it does still work out exactly the same. So don't worry. We're now going to pick up 5 15s. So 5 15s. And we're just going to go straight into the next middle 15 of the next set of 3. Like so. And pull through. And we're just going to repeat that 3 more times. So picking up 5 15s and just going into the next middle 15 of the next set of 3 along. So you should have a total of 4 of them when you're finished. Okay, so you can see now I have a total of 4 sets of 5 15s, and you can see that the bezel is starting to build. I'm going to go through my first set of 5 15s. I'm taking my needle through the first set of 5. I'm going to pick up 1 delica, so, and I'm going to go through the next set of 5 15s, like so, and pull through. And this new delica will sit between these 2 sets of 5. And I'm going to repeat that 3 more times, so adding in 1 single delica between your sets of 5 15s. So as you can see now, I have my 4 delicas in place, and I've now just stepped up into the first delica I added there. I'm now going to take my stone, my rose Monty, or rose chaton, sorry, not Monty, rose chaton. And I'm just going to place it in. You will have to hold this. It will try and get out. It doesn't, it's actually stuck to me and it's getting out that way. So it will try and get out, but don't worry, it will be all nicely firmly in once we've finished. Coming out of the first delica you added, like so, you're going to pick up 4 15s. So 4 15s. Hold your stone and go into the next delica along that you've just added, and pull. And we're going to do that again. We're going to pick up 4 15s, and we're going to go into the next delica along. Again, you'll have to hold it, like so, and pull tight as you're going. And now we're going to do that twice more. I've just added in my last 4, and I've given it a really good pull now. As you can see, my little flat back is now sat in place, and I'm just going to go through all them beads again just to reinforce that top row, so the delicas and the 15s. And again, I'm just going to give that a good pull tight. Now I want to be coming out of this 15 here, going forwards away from this navette. So I want to be coming to, because I'm going to add that navette again between these 2 fire polished, because we're going to basically repeat that one and then this one, so the navette and then the bezel on our next corners and our sides. So to do that, we actually coming out of this delica here, and I'm going to drop down into and go through these 5 15s here, like so. And you may think, oh, she's just going to weave around and then drop here, but I'm not, because it won't actually take me down following the thread path. So I'm going to actually go through the 5/15s and the single 15 on the row below another time, because that will actually tighten up this row as well. So I'm just going through the 5/15s and the single 15 just to tighten up that row. Now everything's in place. And when I get back around to where I was here, before I reinforce that bit, I'm now going to drop into that 15 of that set of 3/15s, through the next one, through the fire polished, and then I'm just going to work through that fire polished there, and then go through the 15, the fire polished, and then back into that single 15 here, like so. And I'm now going the way I want to be, the right way. And I just found that was a good way of tightening up the piece and getting to the point where we can carry on forward. So that's what your work should look like now. You should have the Nette stone with the 15s, the fire polished 15s over it, and the single 15s underneath it, and then your bezel there. We're now going to come through the next 2 15s and into the fire polished, as we did earlier to add this Nette. So I'm coming out to that fire polished, and now you're just going to repeat from the 15 Nette, 2 15s, fire polished 2 15s, through the Nette and the 15, and jump into that fire polish there, and then you're going to add your bezel. So repeat from adding the Nette stone with the 15s and the fire polished, and then adding the bezel, and you should have a total of 4 Nettes on over your Vexolo beads and a bezel on each corner. So you're going to repeat them 2 steps all the way around. Okay, so I've just now finished adding in my bezels and my Nette stones with the fire polished and the 15s on the top of the Nette stones, and I've now woven through my beads to come out of the 2 15s after the fire polished on the top of this Nette here. I'm now going to pick up 3 size 11 delicas and 1 size 15, and I'm going to go into this delica on this first bezel here. So this, if you think of these as a bottom, top, side and side, I'm going to go into the first side delica here. So I've come out of them 2 15s, and now I'm going into, I picked up my beads, and now I'm going into that first delica here. I'm going to pull through, and then beads will now sit just on the side of this top side of your Nette. I'm now going to weave through the next 5 15s on my bezel, so on that row below the 4, so that 5 15s there. I've taken my needle through them, pull tight, so I should be coming out of this 5th 15 here before this delica, for this top delica. I'm going to pick up 3 15s, and I'm going to go down the next 5. So you'll find these are quite like snug now, because they've obviously had the thread go through them a couple of times. So I'm coming down the next 5 like that, pull through, and you get that little picot, that little 3 beads sitting basically above this delica bead here. And I'm going to go into this side size 11 delica, and pull through. I'm going to give that a little pull to make sure everything's nice and tight, and then I'm going to pick up 1 15 and 3 delicas, 1 15, 3 delicas, and I'm going to go through the next 5 beads above my Nette. So the 2 15s, the fire polished, and the 2 15s. I'm going to go through the full 5 like so, pull through, and just go through the last 2 because I can only get through 3 at once. So there we go, and that is now joined our Nette stones to our bezel. So you can see that we have the 3 delicas, the 15 through our beads, 3 15s through our beads, 15, 3 delicas, and then through these 5 beads here. And we're just going to repeat from the 3 delicas, 15 on this side, and then add the 3 15s and then the other 15 and 3 delicas. We're going to do that all the way around. So picking up 3 delicas, 1 15 through that side delica, through the 5. I've got into the first one of the 4. Let's not do that. Pick up the 3, through the 5, 3 15s through the 5 15s, and pick up 1 15 and 3 delicas, and then through the 5 above the navette. So repeat that all the way around. I'm just adding in my last 15 and 3 delicas, and I'm going to go through my 5, my 2 15s, my fire polished, and my 2 15s above the navette. Pull tight, and that's how your work should look now. So now we're going to work on the inside of our piece. Let me just pull up the piece. As you can see here, we've got more beads on the inside, and that's what's really going to give it this domed look. You may see that this part obviously already sits back, but this domed look is what you're going to, well, concave look is what you're going to go for. So let's start adding these next beads, these fire polish and these seeds on the inside. So I'm coming out of this 15 here above the navette. I'm just going to go down into the navette after them 2 15s. So you should be coming out of this navette here closest to this bezel. And we're now going to pick up 2 15s, 1 delica and 2 15s. Like so. Oh, the rods fell off. Let's not do that. 2 15s, 1 delica, 2 15s. And obviously we've used the side delicas on the bezel, and the top one we've gone over. We're now going to use this bottom one, this bottom delica here that is closest to the navette, and we're just going to take our needle through that bottom delica on the bezel. So with our 2 15s, our delica and our 2 15s, I'm going to go through that delica there and pull tight. Coming out of that delica, we're now going to pick up 1 15, 1 fire polished, come here, and 1 15. And this delica, I'm hoping you guys can see this, lines up with this delica on the pearl bezel here. So if you can see, there's quite a, if I just kind of give him a little twist because he's being pulled in by this. But if I just, he's lined up here from this one to this one. So with our 15 fire polished 15, we're going to take on, we're going to kind of come with the needle towards us now. So instead of going forward, we're going to come back a little bit, and we're going to come into that delica that is lined up on the pearl bezel with the delica we're coming to get out of. So like so. I'm just going to try and show that from all angles. So coming out of this delica here, grab another needle, out of this one, which lines up with this one here, we've kind of come back towards ourselves with our 15 fire polish 15 that's on our needle, and pull through and pull tight. And as you can see now, that 15 fire polish 15 kind of like joins them two together, and it makes it kind of sit a little bit differently. You'll notice that that instantly tightens up the piece. Now we're going to pick up 1 15, and we're going to go up that fire polished like so, the one we've just added, and we're going to pick up 1 15, and we're going to go back into that delica that we started from when we started adding our 15 fire polish 15 from the opposite side, so that you have a 15 on either side of that delica and pull that through. And then you're going to give that a really nice little pull tight, because you want this bit to be really tight, because this is the I mean, you want it all to be tight obviously, but this will really give it that shape. We're now going to pick up 2 15s, a delica and 2 15s, like so. And we're going to go through this first hole closest to the bezel on the next navette along, so like that, and pull through, and again pull that tight. So now you can see we've got these sets of 5 beads either side of the bezel attached to the navette, and the 15s and the fire polished and the 15s attached to the pearl bezel below. We're now going to go through our 15s, fire polished 15s above the navette, and keep pulling it tight. You want it really nice and tight. And then we're going to go down into the next hole of the navette there, like so. And then we're going to repeat this part, so picking up the 2 15s, the delica, 2 15s, go into that bottom delica here on this closest bezel to where you're coming out of. Pick up a 15, a 3mm fire polished and a 15, and go into the corresponding corresponding delica on the pearl bezel, like so. Pull tight, 15 up into the fire polished, 15 back into the delica that you started that bit from on the bezel, and pull tight, and then the 2 15s, the delica and the 2 15s, and up through the next navette. Make sure you're only going through the navette, you're not going through them single 15s that are attached to the navette and the fire polished. It's just the navette. And pull tight. And then weave through your next 5 beads on the top of the navette. The 2 15s, the fire polished, and the 2 15s. And we're just going to continue that all the way around, adding in them sets of beads to join our navettes, our bezels, and the pearl bezels. Piece should be looking like that now. Both these ones are joined. So continue around until everything is joined. And I've just added in my last set of 2 15s, delica 2 15s, and I'm coming out of my navette now, and your piece should be joined like mine is all the way around with these beads. You should have 4 fire polished in place, joining the chaton rose bezel to the pearl bezel, and as you can see it's curved in, so that's exactly how you want it to be curved in. All your beads should be nice and tight. If you feel like they're not, just give them a little pull. You can, I guess you could go back through if you I've not had to do that yet, but you could if you wanted to make it a bit more tighter. You could try that, but now I'm just going to weave through my beads to come out of this middle 15 on these 3 15s we added earlier above the rose chaton. So through my 2 15s above my navette, let's not have any knots, through the fire polished, through the 2 15s, through the 3 delicas, the single 15 and the side delica on the bezel. And this might be really tight now, but you're going to go through them 5 15s again. So if you need to take your needle down a needle to something a bit smaller, do that, because you don't want to break any beads. If not, and you feel like you can get through, like I have, using the size 12, carry on. And then I'm going to go through these first 2 15s of that set of 3, like so. So I'm coming out of that. And now we're going to add our little loop on to attach a jump ring or a pendant or whatever you want to attach here. I mean, I have some, not that I'm going to use that here, but I guess you could make a little loop and attach something similar to this on. You could go earrings if you wanted to go big, why not? You could attach some ear wires on it. I mean, that's on my hand. I only have smallish hands though. Let's see, what can I use for oh no, that's not I suppose use the fire line. Let's use the fire line. We all know what a 125 fire line. It looks nice if you're a regular beader. So there it is in the middle of the fire line. So that's roughly the size, but you'll see because you'll have made it by now. So you'll know what size it is. What am I saying? Anyway, yeah, you can add what you want on, but we're just going to add the little loop of crystals and seeds. So like we did when we made the bezel, we're going to pick up 4 fire polished and 3 15s, alternating them. So 1 fire polished, 1 15, fire polished, 15, fire polished, 15, fire polished. So like so, exactly as we did when we made the bezel. And we're just going to go back into that 15 we're coming out of and pull through. I'm going to go forward into that first fire polished that we've just added, exactly the same as earlier, like so. We're going to pick up 3 15s. This is where it kind of changes. So 3 15s. We're going to jump that first 15 and go through the fire polished, the 15, then the fire polished. So we're going to go through 3 beads. So jumping that 15 and go through the fire polished, the 15 and the fire polished on the loop. And that gives us them 3 15s there over that single 15. And we're just going to repeat that again. 3 15s. We're going to jump this 15 and go through the fire polished and into that 15 that we started from. Like so. And we're just going to give them a little pull tight. And I'm going to reinforce that loop because I want that to be nice and tight. Obviously this is what holds the whole pendant, so you kind of want it to be nice and secure, so going through it a couple of times doesn't hurt. So just going through, reinforcing my loop. And that is finished. Just need to weave off my thread, and then I have my third one because I actually already have that colour. And so whenever I design a YouTube video, you may see that the multiple pieces do appear in the photos, and that's because I make the original piece. I have to remember how I made the original piece, and then the one I actually film. So I now have 3 of these pendants in all different colours. I have I suppose the Fly Me to the Moon colours. Then this like really romantic colour that is not my colours at all, but I didn't actually have many of the Chaton roses left, so I went with these really nice rose opal ones, and I just think that's gorgeous. And it's not even my kind of colours. If anything's my kind of colours, it would be this one. But out of all 3, I'm probably going to say they're now my favourites. So that's a bit of an unusual thing to happen, but sometimes some pieces work better with some kind of colours, and sometimes others work better with your favourite colours. I guess that is just how it goes. But yes, I have 3, and I don't know what to do with them now. But I hope you've enjoyed this video anyway. I hope you've enjoyed making your Gothic glass, and if you have enjoyed it, I would really appreciate if you would subscribe to my channel. There's lots more content on there. There's more content to come. There's more things from the box to come, so keep an eye out for that. As I said, I'll link all the links for the box and everything else below. And yes, that is us finished. So have a lovely day and take care. Bye now.